first thing, Andy and Scott sounded as if they both had PTSD there. Like Vietnam vets. You don't know, man. You weren't there. But Russell Martin, I listened to it and I was quite looking forward to it because obviously Chris Sutton had been very vocal during Russell Martin's time up here. Chris wasn't so vocal last night, and I understand that because they've obviously trying to put a show out. Russell's looking well there. No, I listened to a man there in denial over the course of 2 hours, blaming everyone but himself. Okay, now and again, he kind of half took responsibility, but it wasn't really. It was all caveated, i.e. somebody else was to blame. So I'm afraid he's got and I think in many ways he's a nice guy, but he's got this horrible habit of not accepting responsibility for anything, of blaming it on everybody else. I mean, at one point last night, he was defending what went on at Southampton, saying, we get a hard time. I'd lost my football director because he went to Manchester United and they didn't replace him. So what chance did I have? And then we were getting pilloried because we were losing slack goals. Yes, because your team was playing like the Ant Hill mob at the back. They were giving away goals left, right, and centre. They were the worst single performing team in the history of the Premier League when he got the sack. But there was no acknowledgement of that. And he said that he's went away and he's thought about stuff and he'll be better next time. But it was very much in the Mark Warburton. From now on, plan B will be to do plan A just better. And his stuff there that he felt he was obviously feels he was moving further and further away from his principles and his philosophy. And as I said, the sort of PowerPoint peps that you get these days, they've got a very set in stone. This is how I'm going to do it. He obviously feels that he's made a mistake by moving away from that, which he had to do because it was so bad and it was only going to get worse. So he made changes to try and be a little bit more pragmatic. They made him a little bit better, but not enough, not anywhere near enough. And if he's saying that on reflection, he's now decided that the way he wanted to set his team up, which if you recall, and I think it was a home game at home to Anderlecht, he had Nico Raskin, for some reason, playing almost out in the left touchline so that Max Aarons could come inside and play centre midfield as an inverted fullback. Max Aarons, and he's, 10 months, however long he's been here, I've probably seen him hit about 4 balls forwards. Every other pass goes back the way. A guy that quite clear, and it's not his fault, he's not a centre midfield player. Why would you take Nico Raskin, tell him to play on the left touchline to enable Max Aarons to come in and build play for the centre of the pitch? It was from day one, from when the covers came off, it was insanity. It was never going to work. And Russell Martins now looks back on this and thinks, well, if only I'd just stuck to my principles, it might get better quicker. It wasn't going to get better quicker. It was just a nightmare experience for him, and particularly for the Rangers supporters.
Gavaldo says in the comments, if Rangers win this title, he'll say it was all his team and he'd be given more time, he'd have won it also.
Where's my medal? I think Mizuno launched a brilliant point up there, which was, see all this stuff, and Russell Martin felt he was being hard done by. And I think he's too quick to play the victim card. I remember one press conference very early on, might have even been after the second or third game at St Mirren, where they dropped points. And he walked into a press conference, apropos nothing, and then started talking about, people don't like me because I've got long hair and a middle pattern. And Mizuno made the point, it doesn't matter.
You can see it's on the
screen. What he likes to eat, how he wears his hair, whether or not he wears brown brogues or a shirt and tie, none of that matters. You saw that the Rangers fans, when they were getting success under Mark Warburton, they're running about with bin bags on their head or bread bags on their head. Yeah. So they would all have jumped on the Russell Martin train if he was capable of getting them results. But it was, not only was he incapable of getting results, he then had a very arrogant way of dealing with that and explaining himself. And all it did was succeed in winding people up.
Did he not say that to St Mirren, Keith, that somebody refused to come on as well?
Yeah. Giovanni, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was after day one at Motherwell, where he basically said, "Oh, these guys are hopeless. They need to part their egos."
I think Scott hit the nail on the head, Keith, with it when he basically said he's never going to face up to everything when he was on there last night, because this is now the beginning of the media world tour. It's now time to start letting everybody know that I'm available for work. And you're
1,000,000%, Swanee.
My point is, a job interview and said I made a complete mess of that job. It was he's going to say it was everyone else's.
1,000,000%. Right?
I did take a bit of it with a pinch of salt.
He actually said last night, that people get the wrong idea of me. Maybe I didn't handle myself very well in the press conferences. So this was his idea of a relaunch.
Yeah.
Going on that show last night was his idea of going front facing and saying to the world, "Look, guys, you all got me wrong. Here's the real me."
Yeah.
But see, with everything he said last night, I think it was almost a doubling down. It was almost saying, "Well, that's exactly the guy that I thought you were." So I'm not sure that he's enhanced his chances of getting a job. You guys are probably right. You're probably right, Swanee. Somewhere, some owner somewhere, it might align. It might be magical, and it might all come together for him. But in terms of trying to explain away how bad that was at Rangers, I don't think he did himself any favours last night. I think he started from a bad position. A little bit like his time in charge of Rangers. He started from a bad position and it quickly deteriorated from there.
You're low
That was my take anyway.
He's a big Rangers man, says Russell Martin never won a game in 8. Then Rowe came in and we got results. So that says it all. That's the end of the day. It's about results, isn't it? I mean,
that's
different manager, same group of players.
No.
And it's the same with Martin O'Neill, Wilfred Nancy.
The only thing about that is he knows that he had to hit the ground running. I know he said he tried to change too much, blah, blah, blah. But he knows he had to start winning at the start and straight away. So what was he told from up above? Was he told he was going to get time? Or else, why was he allowed to sanction the signing of so many new players? Well, they tell him, because I remember when he was talking to some of the press, with some of his media stuff, the board are with me, and this is going to take time, and blah, blah, blah. Is that what they sold it? Did they say to him, "You'll get time, Russell. You don't have to be winning straight away"?
I'm sure that was the conversation.
Mistake, if that was the case.
I'm sure that was the case. But again, you had inexperienced guys making these decisions.
Yeah, and in fairness,
the fans will be understanding.
Yeah, Andrew Kavanagh rectified it very quickly when he realised it was going wrong. But I think they were maybe even taken aback by the sheer toxicity of it all when it was going so badly.
I would hand him a bit of a pass on it, Andrew Kavanagh, because he was busy taking over the club at that.
Yeah, but I mean, he was the guy who stepped in and made the decision. But what he did,
but what he did do when he was trying to get the nuts and bolts nailed down, or dealt with in terms of the actual buying, the buyout of the club, he put people in charge of positions, and he made mistakes there. He's put people in charge that were not qualified to understand the requirements. And I'm sure these people would have sat down in the room with Russell Martin, given him a wee cuddle and said, "Oh, don't worry, Martin, Russell, you'll get loads of time here. No, we're really understanding. We're right behind you.
1-8's fine at Rangers. You're rebuilding."
There's nobody any patience here.